What's up, everybody? Useless Skills here. Welcome back to my channel. We're going to cover the infamous Kendrick and Drake beef. And I'm going to take a little angle that I don't think a lot of people have taken. We're going to talk about everything that's happened and all of the songs and the beefs. We're not going to go over lyrics and, bar for bar, stuff like that. At least not initially. So, because I feel like, there's plenty of channels that are doing that as they were releasing. So you're good. If you want to find that, you can. This is a trampoline, by the way. My son loves to jump, so we got him a trampoline so he could jump all day. Anyway, besides this space being a mess, we have the Drake and K-Dot beef. And more or less, I put a little, it's like a little, I want to say Venn diagram, or just a regular list of things that were levied from Drake, things that were levied from Kendrick, right? So from Drake, we have that Rick Ross was on Ozempic. This has nothing to do with Kendrick. I try to keep it just for Kendrick and Drake, but that Ozempic thing will come up later, so that's why I left it there. We got K-Dot beats his wife. K-Dot kids is not his. K-Dot's short. K-Dot's defended R. Kelly. K-Dot uses bots. K-Dot and his wifey do not follow each other on social media. That's what SM means. K-Dot's friend likes his pics of K-Dot's kids, and Drake manipulated K-Dot with fake intel, and Drake says he's not a pedo. K-Dot says Drake is a pedo, that he hates Drake. Drake has a daughter. Drake is a manipulator and a liar, and etc., because there's other things he called him. Drake has pedos around him. Drake slept with Lil Wayne's girl. Drake's OVO team fed Kendrick info. People around Drake hate him. Drake doesn't write his own songs. Drake is not a good father, and Drake uses his blackness for clout. Okay? Now, a lot of this stuff, again, is just it's very basic stuff within each diss record. Drake's more than Kendrick's. Obviously, you might have to dig a little deeper to understand Kendrick's meanings, at least in the first couple of disses. He got a lot more clearer as time went on. But yeah, so I gathered all of this, and then I'm basically researching to see what we can, knock down or prop up as proof or not proof of these claims. There are certain things we can't prove, like, for example, Drake having a daughter. Unless he himself comes out, this is my daughter, I'm not about to go on the internet and say, hey, this is definitely his daughter or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if he doesn't claim the kid, I can't claim the kid for him, and I'm not going to put a random kid in that position just in case that's not his daughter, right? There's other things. Drake saying that K-Dot's kids are not his. Again, unless there's a paternity test, or Dave Free says, he's sterile, he can't have kids, or, them saying that, he never, or even him saying he never slept with whatever, which I'm sure he did, but whatever. Like, there's no consecutive proof of this. So, anyway, so let's start with the Rick Ross Ozempic claim, right? So Drake, in one of his disses, I forget which one, I think one of the later ones, he says that Rick Ross is on Ozempic or something about an Ozempic thing, right? But Kendrick, in his second diss track, reveals that all this medication and pills and stuff like that is from Drake. So Drake has an Ozempic that's down here on the right of the picture. And it's also claims about, jewelry that he's bought for some reason. I don't know what exactly, but people are saying that because he collected all this jewelry, he's like a colonizer, because he's basically collecting all of these artifacts from black people. But I feel like a lot of rap artists do that, so I wouldn't dig him for that. And then we have the pills that are used, that are sleeping pills under Drake's name. But Kendrick is saying, he uses them for nefarious means. And a lot of, medical professionals are saying that this is usually used for nefarious means because there are different kind of sleeping pills that you can use or whatever. So basically, this is the evidence that Kendrick is using as proof. Now, this picture, we don't know where it was taken, who it was taken by. I don't know if Kendrick has these items in his possession and then took the picture, or Drake or someone in Drake's camp took the picture and sent it to Kendrick. We don't know that, right? But since Kendrick is saying that his OVO works for him, or that OVO's feeding him information, we can kind of assume that somebody sent him this stuff, but then I think DJ Academics or somebody close to Drake has said that these were items in his father's luggage, which again, don't know why his father would have these items of his sons, but allegedly later on, Drake claims that he planted this evidence on himself, which is weird. It is very weird. The Ozempic stuff doesn't really make sense. I mean, I guess because, people are saying he had like surgery, like for his abs and for his ass. And so basically maybe it's like, oh, he uses Ozempic to keep his weight down or whatever. But then he's saying that about himself. And then also the sleeping pills and stuff, people say that, Drake is a pedophile, or he's more or less like the Bill Cosby or the Harvey Weinsteins of the world. And he's, again, putting this forward himself. He's saying that he gave these items to Kendrick. He fed Kendrick this intel, which doesn't really make sense, but also it makes you look worse if they're true. Now, if they're not true, you kind of have to disprove these things. And so when in the last diss track he said, this is kind of 2 points, but basically the Rick Ross Ozempic claim, I'm going to move that and I'm going to move it over here because basically he's saying Drake, is on Ozempic and he has proof. So I'm going to leave that as a win technically for Kendrick. So yeah, back to this Drake manipulated Kendrick with fake intel. It's two things. First, you can't call somebody a liar if they're basically reporting or refuting or saying information that you gave them, right? So if you're saying, oh, you're a liar, haha, caught you, you're a liar. It's like, no, he was telling the truth because that was the truth that he thought, right? If he had intel that said that you were a pedophile or on Ozempic or whatever it was, and then said you weren't a pedophile and you weren't on Ozempic, then I'd be like, oh, he's a liar because he has intel that he did and then he said he didn't, right? But he's just going off of the intel that you gave him. So I feel like that's still him speaking the truth, at least his truth. But I don't know. Then also the Drake manipulating Kendrick stuff that came up at the very tail end. It came up in the third diss track in the kind of like not Drakey tone. Like if I don't know, like I don't really listen to Drake like that. Like, obviously when he comes up in like a mall or something, and when he's on the radio or whatever, like sure, there's like hits that he has. I'm not denying him that. But I'm saying like I don't really listen to him regularly, but most of the songs that he has, and even the two disses that he had before this third one, it was kind of like a beat, like kind of clubby, kind of like him going at him, and a lot of the times he was attacking other people and not really K-Dot, and that's what people had a problem with. But the one track he has mostly dedicated to Kendrick, he just kind of sounds sleepy on it. I don't know. He kind of sounds like he's not really trying to hit hard, especially towards the tail end. You kind of hear that last verse. He's just kind of talking a little bit, and then he starts talking, and it's like, okay. And I don't know. It just seemed like he was kind of defeated, in my opinion, again, listening to it. But he's kind of saying that he manipulated Drake, but he doesn't have any proof. And in the song, he says his stuff is all facts. And it's like, is it facts? Because, like, this guy who, since the beginning, has been trolling Kendrick, right, with the tailor-made track and all this stuff online and, basically attacking his manager and the Weeknd and the Weeknd's manager, like all these people, and Rick Ross going back and forth with like memes and stuff. So I just don't understand how this internet person who takes a picture of everything, even the third diss track is a picture of like the Twitter of Dave Free saying, heart or whatever under, I guess, one of Kendrick's kids' pictures. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like what you're saying is that, you had this, you fed this guy fake intel, whatever, but you didn't say who the mole was. You didn't have like a picture with you with your hand around the mole saying, hey, look, Kendrick, we got him. This guy. You didn't have a recording of him talking to Kendrick. You didn't have like even this picture, like if it zoomed out, because initially Kendrick had it like zoomed in just to the glove, but then if it zoomed out to this and then zoomed out again and it's Drake, going like or whatever, or him holding like a fake prescription or something showing that, he faked this information, that would be more believable. But I feel like, and he also waited like for a long time for like the last Kendrick diss track, which was like one of the most like danceable ones, like the biggest banger he had. And he just waited and let that sit. and then came out with this track. Like, wouldn't you have already had it recorded, like ready to go? Like, haha, we played a trick on you. I feel like he had to record it and then release it, and that's why it took so long for him to respond, meaning he didn't know that it was coming. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe in that intel where he was like, in my opinion, it would be crazy if Drake had a daughter, and so far, again, hasn't been found, but he didn't claim Adonis, and it took a while for Adonis to actually come out to the public as well, even after the first diss that Pusha T put to him that revealed it. So maybe down the line there'll be a Drake's daughter, but right now there's none. And maybe that is the fake intel that he fed him, right? Just the daughter, not the Ozempic thing, not the sleeping pills thing, which would make sense, right? So if he's saying he fed him the fake daughter intel, that's fine. That's okay, cool. But that's not really the biggest accusation that he has against him. And also, it doesn't really deter the disses that Kendrick's, like the diss tracks, really. Like, even that diss track, the one that kind of centered around the daughter, where you can see all of the reaction of people when they first heard it, were like, oh my God, he has another kid, no way. It's like, you kind of took the impact away, because right after that, if you dropped it and were like, we faked it, then everybody like, oh shit, 40 chess or whatever. But it was like, I feel like everyone online defended the people that would defend Drake were defending Drake, saying, oh no, this is something he probably fed him, it's bullshit, yada yada. And then it looked like, because Drake, again, is terminally online, as you can see, he just took that narrative and was like, yeah, that's what I did. I fed him the information. And then it's like, okay, but you're not saying specifically what. And he's saying he said the daughter information, the Ozempic, the pills, and also I'm like, so you put the narrative forward that not only do you have a fake kid, which, okay, whatever, most people would believe because you already didn't claim one, but you put the claim forward about you being a pedophile. I feel like that's not good, especially because even prior to this, people have said that he's a pedophile because of other things that have happened. So I just feel like that's not a good, even if you're playing 40 chess, it's not a good 40 chess move. You just checkmated yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So the Drake manipulated Kendrick with fake intel, I kind of don't believe that, so I'm taking that off the list, right? Now, Kendrick says that Drake's OVO team fed him intel. I'm going to leave it as is because he has the picture, he has the proof, at least on his end, some kind of proof that somebody sent him something, either that picture or those documents or those items. He has them either in his possession or somebody took a picture and sent it to him of that stuff. So basically it exists. There's nothing that proves that it's fake, at least from Drake's side, so I can't really say that it's fake, at least of right now, right? The daughter claim, I'm going to take away because he didn't prove that Drake had a daughter. He just said that Drake had a daughter from the intel that he might have heard or listened to, but he had no real proof that there is a daughter. And although internet people are going to internet and probably find her if she does exist, right now, we don't know if she actually does exist. And again, Drake hasn't claimed her, so we're going to assume she doesn't exist. So we're going to assume that's gone, right? So, but again, I feel like even if that diss track, the Meet the Grams one, there's other things that he said there. Like, even if you take that verse out, like, even if Kendrick re-releases Meet the Grams with just the 3 verses of him talking to Adonis, him talking to Drake's mom and dad, and him talking to Drake, it's still effective. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's still a blow. It's still bad because of all the other things that he's saying. Anyway, so now, let's go to, so that was the picture, right? Then we have K. Dot beats his wife from Drake. So again, unless Whitney herself comes on a line and says that's not true or whatever, we can sort of ascertain that something happened between them, whether it's the Kendrick cheating or maybe abusive language, maybe emotional abuse. It might be physical abuse. We don't know. From Kendrick's own admission in Mr. Morale, the last album that he had, he kind of admits that him and Whitney are on rocky foundation. So Drake bringing that up, it's not really new information, but the fact that he beats his wife specifically, I don't know, maybe, but again, he doesn't have any proof of this. And we already know he's lied about other things, so I don't know if I believe him on this. Now, the closest thing we can get to is the Taylor Alford, which is supposedly Whitney's brother. He said that he's on Kendrick's side. He said, fuck him up, bro, when he came up with Not Like Us. And everybody's like, why would Taylor be on Kendrick's side if he beats, his sister or whatever? Now, during domestic abuse, some people might not speak about it, like she might not have spoken to her brother about it or whatever. But we're going to say that Taylor is related to Whitney. He has photos of him with J-Rock, and he's also part of the music industry. He does music and stuff like that. And so, some people are speculating he's not related to Whitney at all, but she has not come out again and said, and Kendrick has not come out and said, and nobody in Kendrick's camp has come out and said that he's not her brother. So we don't really know if he is or isn't for real, because again, we don't know that much about Whitney's life. But right now with what we have, this article is basically saying that, Taylor is on Kendrick's side. And I would assume that now that they are allegedly separated, or at least Drake claims that Kendrick and Whitney are separated, that they haven't seen each other for 6 months, or he hasn't seen his kids for 6 months, or whatever it is, then Whitney would feel free to tell Taylor, hey, he did abuse me or didn't abuse me. And so if she hasn't been like, yeah, I was not, if she basically was like, no, I wasn't in an abusive relationship, it would be like her brother, who's literally closer to her than even Kendrick, that she would basically be like, hey, yeah, like, I'm good. So I assume from this that he is not beating his wife, but unless Whitney comes out herself, we don't know for sure. But I'm going to take it off the table because, again, this is coming from Drake, who is not a reliable source, in my opinion. And also, even though Whitney has not spoken out herself, it can be disproven later on. Or proven, we don't know. But I'm taking it off because, again, the source is the problem, in my opinion, for this. K-Dot's kids is not his. This one I'm leaving because we don't have proof either way, right? He's saying this, again, not a very reliable source. But at the end of the day, I also don't feel like it's a diss. Like, if you're telling me Kendrick is raising somebody else's kid, maybe he knows it or maybe he doesn't know it, that's still, you don't really usually blame the person for that, right? Like the person that got cheated on or that's been raising the kid that's not his. Usually you blame the woman or the other man that she cheated with, right? Because why would you blame Kendrick for this? So this is kind of like more like a Dave Free diss or a Whitney diss than a K-Dot diss. But then later on in his third track, he's like, hey, Whitney, hit me up for a favor or whatever. And it's like, bro, you called her a slut. Like, you're calling her a slut. I don't get it. Like, you said that her kids aren't her band's kids. Like, why would she hit you up? Anyway, whatever. That's the contradictions of this man are crazy. Anyway, also leaving K-Dot is short because that's true. That's the one burn that he got that he, you know what I mean? That he's in there. He also said something in the third track when he was talking about how he is, glad that he gave us Kendrick fans the more Kendrick, and I'm like, you know what, you're not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, Kendrick has not dropped this much and this fast and this strategically and fucking greatly, in my opinion, because it's four different tracks. Like, 4 tracks. If you listen to them back to back, they're all different tracks, right? Euphoria is different than 616 in LA, and 616 in LA is different than Meet the Grams, and Meet the Grams is very different than Not Like Us. So all 4, in my opinion, great songs, all 4 different songs. Whereas in my opinion for Drake, it was Push Ups and then Family Matters, and it was like kind of samey. Like, I felt like Push Ups was like better in my opinion than Family Matters, but then Family Matters is kind of like a continuation of Push-Ups. And then the last one, the Heart Part 6, which clever for him to take the heart stuff, but I feel like Kendrick is still going to go around and be like Corazon Part 6 or some kind of, or he'll put up like a Proverbs of some religious stuff because Kendrick's very religious, and that'll mean like the heart, and then he'll be like Part 6. You know what I mean? Like, he'll find a way around it. So, but whatever. The point is, in that track, he sounded very sleepy. He didn't sound hard-hitting. Even Drake fans do not bump that track. You know what I mean? They don't even like that track. So it's like, who really won here, in my opinion? Anyway, so yeah, Kendrick is short. Can't change that. And, yeah, he got him there. Wow, Kendrick short. Facts. K-Dot defended R. Kelly. Now, let's see if I have this one queued up here. So, this article says, this time we're going to read it because, I skimmed through it. But anyway, in his latest Kendrick Lamar diss track, The Heart Part 6, Drake mentioned R&B singer, songwriter, R. Kelly, right? The Toronto rapper alluded to Spotify's 2018 misconduct policy where they pulled artists like R. Kelly, Take K, and XXX Tentacion's music from the platform. However, the policy faced a strong revolt from Lamar and other musicians, eventually leading the streaming service to drop it altogether. So it wasn't just Kendrick Lamar or TDE, it was other artists as well, right? Anthony Tiffith, the CEO of the record label representing Kendrick Lamar at the time, confirmed that to Billboard that he threatened Spotify to pull the rapper's music from the platform if the policy was kept intact. Top Dog Entertainment, right, TDE, reached out to Spotify CEO Daniel Ek and its head of artist relations, Troy Carter, regarding the same, right? Drake calls out Kendrick Lamar for support. Okay, in May 2018, Spotify's new policy about hateful conduct and hate content set out to remove artists' playlists from its platform that engaged in hate speech. It also applied to artists who were accused or convicted of misconduct. The policy noted, when an artist or creator does something that is especially harmful or hateful, for example, violence against children and sexual violence, it may affect the ways we work with or support that artist or creator. Okay, I'm going to skip through this. Okay, Top Dog Entertainment protested against Spotify's policy on behalf of Kendrick Lamar. He told Billboard, I don't think it's right for artists to be censored, especially in our culture. How did they just pick those artists out? How come they didn't pick out any others from any other genres or any other different cultures? There are so many other artists that have different things going on, and they could have picked anybody, but it seems to me that they're constantly picking on hip-hop culture and black artists, basically. My whole thing with them was, we got to fix the situation, and if it can't be fixed, then there's going to be a real problem. We're going to have to start pulling our music from the site. So, in my opinion, he's basically saying, Kendrick and his team is saying that Red Hot Chili Peppers and Aerosmith and other white artists in rock, mostly in rock actually, and metal and stuff like that, have been accused of the same thing, right? Married little girls, or tried to adopt little girls, or take little girls from their parents and do stuff to little girls. So, children. Let's just say children. So, the fact that they're only after certain, hip hop and R&B or black artists, it's just, to them, it was messed up. Like, if you're gonna get rid of everybody, then get rid of everybody with a problem. Don't just keep, the white ones. And that's basically what they're saying. And I agree with him on that. Unfortunately, R. Kelly is being defended there, but it's kind of thing. This is XXXTentacion saying thank you to Kendrick Lamar.
Thank you, Kendrick Lamar. I didn't want to say anything to make him subject to any negative energy whatsoever, because people find some weird way to do that. But thank you again, and I appreciate you, and many blessings to you and your family. I know a lot of people were and are expecting me to respond negatively, but honestly, there's no point. I was blessed in the end. I'm appreciative for everything, and I've changed tremendously as a person, and I'm just very grateful for where I am right now.
So that's XXXTentacion saying, he's thankful to Kendrick and a bunch of other artists that basically helped him get his music back on Spotify, because his music was taken off, or was going to be taken off, because of the whole situation with R. Kelly and all these other people that have done probably worse than XXXTentacion. I think XXXTentacion's thing was he had some song that was, against somebody or whatever. I don't know. I don't really listen to XXXTentacion. Anyway, let's go back. So, did K-Dot defend R. Kelly? Not necessarily, so I'm going to take that off. K-Dot uses bots. Now, I searched a lot of different places. I looked at polls. I looked at stuff like that. If anything, it's actually, and I don't think it's Drake directly also. I think it's Drake stans, like Drake fans, actually pushing polls or whatever, or trying to get bots and stuff to manipulate who actually won this battle. But so far, I haven't seen anything that suggests that K-Dot is using bots or views or anything like that. It's generally the public that is on Kendrick's side. So I'm going to say K-Dot doesn't use bots. He's barely on social media to begin with. Honestly, he pretty much just goes on social media when he's going to drop an album. So that leads to the next point. K-Dot and Wifey don't follow each other on social media, which is technically true, but Kendrick doesn't really have a personal social media account, or if he does, I couldn't find it. And his artist account is basically not following, I think, anyone, and so he's not following his wife, so it doesn't make sense for his wife to follow his artist account, especially when, again, if they are together, she could just speak to him directly, which I'm a fan of. So I don't really care that they don't follow each other on social media, and social media is not really that important, at least in my opinion, so I'm going to delete that. K Dot's friend liked pics of K Dot's kids. So this is Dave Free. He's saying Dave Free is liking pictures of the kid on Instagram or on Whitney's socials or whatever it is when she posts the kids. Now, if you have a friend and they have a kid, usually, if it's just him liking pics of the kid, then that's bad. I did the research. I went on her Instagram. I'm not going to show her Instagram because I don't want people to find her or be weird about it, even though, again, it's out there. They can't find it. I don't want to put her stuff out there since she's not really putting her stuff out there. So I went through her Instagram. I saw the Dave Free photos and stuff that he liked, and I went on Twitter as well. And it's just, a lot of it is pictures of her with the kids, her and Kendrick, and like other stuff. So he doesn't only like pictures of just a random kid, random Kendrick's kid, as in claiming that is the kid that is his, because that's why he's liking those pics specifically. He likes all the pics where they're a family, whether it's just the kid, whether it's kid and Whitney, the kid and Kendrick. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's a weak claim. But anyway, it just makes sense to me that, like, Dave Free, who is supposedly Kendrick's friend since childhood, would be like, yeah, I like your pictures. Like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Anyway, then he said, I'm not a pedo, which we're going to get to later, right? So far for Drake, we have K-Dot's kids is not his because we can't prove it. K-Dot is short, which he can't change. And he's saying that he's not a pedo, which we'll get to later. Let's go to K-Dot. K-Dot says Drake is a pedo, which we'll get to later. K-Dot says he hates Drake, which I'm definitely leaving up there because of all the things that he said in all these diss tracks. He said he wants him to die. That's like one of the top things he said, right? Besides he's a master manipulator, he's a liar, he's a pedophile, he's a degenerate, a sex pest, a nympho, whatever, all those things that he says. He said he wanted him to die, and he literally said that he's the biggest hater and he hates the way that he walks and talks and all these other things. So I'm going to say that's pretty much true. So Drake is a manipulator and a liar, etc. So Drake is saying himself that he manipulated Kendrick. So that kind of lends itself to the thing that he's saying as a manipulator. But since I said I don't believe that, I'm going to take out manipulator, even though, again, he himself claims that he's a manipulator. I am going to leave liar. Let me put is. And we're going to leave etc. out. But definitely liar because he's basically claiming a bunch of things that have come out to be not true, right? In the time that we have just debunked a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to leave liar, right? Drake has pedos around him. Let's go to that, right? So sex offenders in Drake's crew. And again, you guys can do your own research. This is just something I found really quickly. But in 2014, Baca, who apparently is still in Drake's crew, was arrested and charged with forcing a 22-year-old woman into prostitution and taking her money. In 2015, he pled guilty to assaulting the woman and an unrelated weapons charge. Then also members of Drake's entourage sentenced in Toronto rape case, right? So Travis Salvery, a man who reportedly worked security for Drake at Toronto events and also did background vocals on his Nothing Was the Same album, has been sentenced to 6 months in jail, right? So there's people in his camp that are technically on the sex offender registry list. I don't know if, the thing that they put about the Kendrick put on the Not Like Us, I don't know if that's true, like the sex offender stuff that at the OVO house, but it's funny. But technically, just those two means that Kendrick is right. Drake does have pedophiles around him, right, which is one of the claims. Drake slept with Lil Wayne's girl, right? Let's see what the internet has to say about that.
Lyrics he wrote say, went on Wayne's girl while he was in jail, that's conniving, then get his face tatted, apologizing. This is referring to a story that broke out a few years back where it was revealed that Drake spent the night with Wayne's girlfriend while he was in jail. At the time, the story didn't go that viral, but Kendrick mentioning it in his new song has raised a huge amount of attention to it. Wayne also spoke in an interview about how it made him feel and how he handled it.
In the book, there's a part in the book where you say that he came in and told you that he is your girl.
Oh, when he got booked? I wasn't worried about that. I was just, that's just how life goes when you locked up. No.
But she's done, you moved on, life is good. Life is good. Will you rap about that? Do you think it'll end up on a song maybe you two might,
No.
No?
She still be texting me and stuff, And stop texting me too, for real, because it still hurt.
And now, Drake has apologized to Wayne publicly for doing this in the first place.
Okay, well, that's great. So, yeah, so that's true. That's from Lil Wayne himself and from Drake himself, who apologized to Lil Wayne for doing it. So that's another true claim. Drake's OVO team fed Kendrick information. Now, this is K-Dot saying that OVO works for him or whatever. So basically, he's saying he has someone in his camp. He said also in 616 in LA that, you know, people around him don't like him and stuff like that, which is the other claim that was right under it. People around Drake hate him. So he basically is saying, you know, like, all these people want you down, and so they're giving me the information. Now, again, he has certain information that Drake has not disputed or proven that he fed him. So I'm going to say right now that's still true. Drake's, and either way, it's still true, because even if Drake is saying Drake fed him the information, that's still Drake's OVO team that he used to feed Kendrick the information. So that technically is true, right? People around Drake hate him. Now, I don't have actual proof about the people that are around him, day to day, like a security guard or maybe 40 or whatever. But the people that have worked with him don't really like him. We have Rick Ross, we have The Weeknd, we have Meek Mill, we have Kanye, we have, you know, again, the sanity of some of these people are in question. But I'm saying, like, almost a lot of artists that have worked with him, right? Future, Metro Boomin, a lot of artists that have worked with him do not like him and go against him after the fact. So there's a reason for that, and we don't know what the reason is. But I'm going to leave that as facts, because, again, people that have been around Drake have come to hate Drake. Drake doesn't write his own songs. Now, this is, I'm going to give it a nuance. I'm going to give it a little nuance. So, for rap in general, rap, hip-hop, or whatever, coming up, listening to it as a kid and stuff like that, I really felt very strongly about this, because basically you're writing about your past, you're writing about your life, and it should come from you. Now, there have been a bunch of artists that have done that write their own raps and write their own songs, but they've made up their past. They made up their lives. They're from the suburbs, but they're really talking about the hood or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, it became a little shaky for me, because basically if you're going to make up your whole life, why wouldn't somebody else help you write it, right? Help you write fantasy, not real life. Drake, in this case, is technically that, right? He talks about being, you know, hood tough and all sorts of stuff, even though he grew up in the suburbs and very affluent and had money and was an actor for his teen years, so definitely had money then. So coming up, he was pretty wealthy. So I just feel like him helping people come to write his fantasy doesn't really ding him in that way. It does ding him, in my opinion, to say, you know, he's, you know, the rap king or number one rapper or whatever, because again, you're not writing your own stuff, right? And I'm talking about that just on the regular, like, albums and stuff, which Kendrick does as well. He has other people write for him or help him write songs, you know, even if it's one line or whatever, to basically make a hit song, which is what they're trying to do to be, you know, more famous or whatever the hell. But when it comes down to it, when you're talking about beef, when you're talking about, I don't like you, this is me telling you how much I don't like you, this is coming directly from me, I feel like this is where you should write your own songs, right? This is your vitriol. You're saying, I'm coming at you now because of whatever reason. Either you came at me or we're going back and forth or whatever it is. So for that reason, I'm going to leave it up, because if you look up push-ups, right, and you play it on Apple Music, I'm not going to play it because I don't know how Drake is doing right now with dinging stuff for playing, you know, their music. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down. And it says written by Aubrey, right, which is Drake, Matthew, which I don't know who that is, and Noel. So I'm like, do these people have beef with Kendrick? Do they not like Rick Ross or whoever else you mentioned in this diss track, The Weeknd or whatever? So it's like, I feel like if it's a diss record, you're supposed to write it yourself. Now, I'll give him credit on Family Matters, I believe, right? Family Matters. Yep, Family Matters. On Family Matters, he wrote it himself, right? Yeah, there we go. Just himself, which, again, in my opinion, is the lesser of the two tracks, right? If you're going with which track is better, I would say Push-Ups is better than Family Matters, which is kind of whack that the better song is the one that you didn't even write yourself. Whereas for Kendrick, right, let's go with his first diss track, right, Euphoria. I know Kendrick is okay with us playing this stuff, but still, I don't want to just in case. Written by Kendrick, right off the bat. You know what I mean? We know that Like That was with Future and Metro Boomin and other people, so that's not really a single thing. But this is a diss track directly to Drake, and he's like, I'm writing it myself, right? Let's see, Meet the Grams. All right. Again, written by Kendrick. I'm just saying, right? That's not like us. Maybe, you know, he had some help there because at that point he was writing a radio-friendly track, and he's like, you know, maybe I need some help writing a radio-friendly track. I'm not really that radio-friendly most of the time, you know what I mean? Like, I do long-form stuff or whatever. Nope, still written by Kendrick Lamar. So, I'm just saying, these are 3 different songs with 3 different styles, all written by the same man. This is rap. This is hip-hop to me, right? The other one needed help with the first one, and then the second one, okay. The third one, I'm not even sure, but I don't even care because it's not even a good track. So it doesn't matter whether he wrote it himself or not. It's not good. So I'm gonna leave Drake doesn't write his own songs because listen, if you're going off albums, I don't care. You know what I mean? Whoever can craft the better song or whatever, fine, whatever. But if you're dissing someone, like this is the essence of hip hop. You're saying, yo, I'm better than you. You're not. It took you 3 people to try to be better than one person, and still you weren't. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like you lost right there. That's the L right there, but whatever. Drake is not a good father. I'm going to leave that up because, again, we have the story of Adonis, right? And this is back when Pusha T and Drake were beefing. He said, drug dealing aside, ghostwriting aside, let's have a heart-to-heart about your pride. Even though you're multi, I see that your soul don't look alive. The M's count different when baby divides the pie. Wait, let me explain. Let me examine why. Your music for the past few years been angry and full of lies. I'll start it at the home front. I'm on one. Dennis Graham, stay off the gram, bitch. I'm on one. You mentioned wedding ring like it's a bad thing. Your father walked away at 5. Hell of a dad thing. So already he alluded to the fact that Drake's father, even though Drake himself has said this, his father wasn't really there, or he was there, he wasn't there, or whatever. So it's like, you know, he didn't have a very good relationship with his father. Then marriage is something that Sandy never had. Drake, how you a winner, but she keep coming in last place. Monkey suit Dennis, you parade him. A Steve Harvey suit nigga made him. Dennis is again, it's his father, right? Confused, always felt you weren't black enough, afraid to grow it because your fro couldn't nap enough. Since you name dropped my fiance, let him know who you chose as your Beyonce. Sophie knows better as your baby mother. Cleaned her up for IG, but the stench is on her. A baby's involved, it's deeper than rap. We talking character, let me keep with the facts. You are hiding a child, let that boy come home. Sorry, I love that part. You are hiding a child, let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol. Okay. Adonis is your son, and he deserves more than an Adidas press run. That's real. Love that baby, respect that girl. Forget she's a porn star, let her be your world. Yuck. Okay, anyway, I'm getting too deep into this. Point is, he's already saying how he's hidden his kid. Drake later on says that he hid the kid. He's trying to hide the world from the kid, not the kid from the world, but I feel like that's bullshit. And then also the fact that, you know, the girl that he had the kid with, he was hiding her, or he was trying to change her ways or clean her up or whatever to be more presentable when he was finally going to announce that he had a kid. And it's just like, I don't know. The kid, by the way, was, you know, already born, already a couple years old at this point. So I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. That's not good dad behavior. Let's put it that way. Also, all the stuff he raps about and stuff like that, you know, whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it up. Drake uses his blackness for clout. Now this is a hard one to prove, right? Oh, let me put the Ozempic claim up here since I cut the other one off. So let's leave that there. And so yeah, Drake uses blackness for clout. This is a little bit harder to prove. So, I pulled up his Instagram so you guys can see he hasn't really posted anything, again, proving that he, after this track, that he actually manipulated Kendrick. So that's why I'm like, there's nothing new here, no new evidence, so whatever. Anyway. This is not it. Okay, so this is Drake. Matter of fact, now let's go over here.
Still can't believe they let him back after what he did. It makes me sick.
Bob lost, but I'm so lost. The reasons for
So this is back when he was in Degrassi. an interview that they did with the Degrassi cast about, you know, this season of Degrassi that, you know, where he got shot and all this other stuff, whatever. Listen to how he speaks.
Success of this whole Degrassi franchise has been that it's never shied away from dealing with the issues that students really do face in high school, and some of them pretty difficult ones, like your character, Jimmy, last season, landed in a wheelchair because of a shooting. Difficult scene to prepare for?
Definitely something to like reach for as an actor. I mean, it's kind of hard when you at the end of the day get to walk away. I mean, you get to get up out of the chair. You really have to convince yourself.
Now again, listen to how he's speaking. He still sounds like Drake, right? But his mouth, his mannerisms, he's trying to enunciate and speak very clearly.
So how did you prepare for that? I mean, did you spend a lot of time in a wheelchair and with people just to try to figure out?
I actually spent. I actually went out with a kid who was in a wheelchair, and I took him to a very public place, and we went out actually several times after that also. But,
so again, and then this is him talking about slang back when he was a kid.
Romantic, got to know them much better, so it was fun. Do you have like your words up there that like kind of funky and weird?
the guys at our school, instead of addressing people like the group, like saying like, "What are you guys doing?" Say, "Man's like you." It's a really yeah. So man's like you are going to that, and then it's like the group.
Crew.
It's not. It's really ignorant.
Oh, rude. That's rude.
No.
That's a good thing. That's fat. That's dope.
Yeah, I get that.
These are old school, like.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are old school. It's not, I don't want to talk like that. No.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
say that's hot. You say that a lot. That's hot.
Now again, he might just be hamming it up for his date. You know, he's trying to get laid, whatever. Like somebody here says, you know, bad saying anything to get some. So you know, whatever. But I just feel like this is back when he was still trying to be squeaky clean, nice. You know, basically catering to his lighter side, let's say, right? Then your boy goes on Funkmaster Flex. This is back when he was first popping, you know what I mean? This is one of his first freestyles that he did, and he brought a BlackBerry, which, oh my god, he can't even do it off the dome, bro. We should have known then. But. So yeah.
Cypher sounds heavy.
Cypher.
Juanito is on the camera shooting the movie
God.
in HD.
Yeah.
Oh god, cringe. But just how he starts rapping or talking in this is when you know, oh, this man put on a black scent, like after, you know what I mean?
What up?
1080p's the film.
So he's still talking regular here to other people. When he starts rapping, he's like, all right, let me lean on this black side.
Brother,
I'm here, man. I'm ready. I remember listening.
So you see now, you see his mouth, how he's twisting his mouth, how he's speaking, again, with an accent that is a little bit more slangish, a little bit more street.
Last time I listened to one of these Flex,
What's
you know,
good?
the boy said something. He said, Flex, let me touch the city, let him know where it's at. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Can I do that?
You want to do that?
Can I do that?
Ugh.
Hold up. Turn this mic up a little bit.
Can I do that?
Oh, God.
Can I do that?
Oh, Jesus.
New York, New Jersey, I'm here. Toronto, Canada, I'm in here.
Oh,
All the way from
all the way?
Degrassi, all the way from.
Let me situate this.
Yeah.
At least he's proud of his roots.
From it. Look, I say, young money to the young boy dying out. You hear me crying out?
Anyway, you get what I'm saying. So, I don't know. I feel like I got to give this one to my boy. I think he's right. He uses his blackness for clout. He wasn't about that life before, and then when he started rapping or whatever, and he needed street cred and all that stuff. And by the way, I don't have it here, but there's a video of Wayne talking about how when he first put Drake on, he's like, don't try to be like me talking about the streets or whatever the hell. Be yourself, talk about your shit or whatever. And he just decided to venture into street shit, apparently. Talking about mob ties or whatever. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. What's up, guys? Useless Skills here, editing Wilson. So I made this video too long. So I'm going to split it into two parts. So this is part one, what you're watching now. And part two will be the Drake pedophile claims, right? I'll make a video just for that. And then also the end of this video, like how, you know, what my ranking is and how I came about it and all that other stuff. So you guys check out that video right after this one. And thanks for getting this far if you have. This has been another useless skill.